Before we get into the video, I want to quickly show off this month's Patreon print. If you would like to receive an A5 print of this fox in the post, pledge to the Little Snips tier on my Patreon page at any point before the end of September, and all the prints will get sent out at the start of next month. Hello, welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm going to be trying out some new Ohuhu acrylic markers, a set of 90 colours, which I've been sent. I've done a few videos for Ohuhu in the past, and I've always really enjoyed their products, so I'm always happy to do another video for them. In the last one, I was trying out these acrylic markers. This set here, lots of colours in like a thick version and a thin version of each colour, and then these ones as well. And I enjoyed them, but the kind of one thing I thought was that there wasn't that much colour selection. They're all very bright saturated colours, which not much to choose from. I made this piece of art in the video. I managed to pick quite a nice colour palette, I thought, in the end. I kind of combined them a bit with coloured pencils. I had a lot of fun with this, and I'm going to be doing something kind of similar, hopefully similar to that in this video, but bigger and better. I mean, this has got 90 pens in it, and let me show you, they have got lots of colours here, which is nice to see. As always, nice packaging. I'm never disappointed with the packaging when it comes to Ohuhu. There you go. So I think the pens, do they have a thick side and a thin side? And they're the paint pens, so they obviously have the thing in the middle that makes the noise. So on one end there is just a thin nib, and on the other end there is the thick one. Lots of colours here. I'm very excited to swatch them and see what we've got, because just looking at like the colours on the top, like, look at this, it's like that one is shouting out to me. I think this looks really nice, this. So I'll be interested to see how close they look to the caps. So I'll just quickly show you the colours we've got here. Da, 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 da. They seem to be in quite an odd order here. Oh, I think some of these might have like a shininess to them, because I don't know, there's a bit of glitter or something in some of these caps. But there you go. Ooh, there's a bunch of extra nibs here. Something here saying some stuff. And then these are the sheets to kind of test out the colours, white and black. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, and then have a little bit of a play in my sketchbook, just low pressure, seeing how the pens work. And then I'm going to move on to, I really like the character sketches I did in my last video with the Ohuhu pens. So I've since then I've sketched this, I'll pop it up on screen, these circus animals, and I want to colour this. Eventually I want to maybe do this as a full finished piece in like collage or paint it, but I thought it'd be fun to just have a go at doing this in these pens. So I'm going to pick a colour palette and spend probably quite a long time turning this into a finished illustration. I mean, I don't know, if it turns out really nice, it could be the finished one, but I'd like to do a background as well. But in this video I'm just doing the characters, and I'll probably include a bit of like more mixed media with my Neocolor crayons and some coloured pencils as well on top, because I just love the texture you can get when layering these kind of things on top of the pens. So seeing how that works as well, let's get to swatching these colours. I filled these in. It took me quite a while, to be honest. A lot of colours to do. I've realised, so these are all kind of normal paint pens up until here. So this section at the top as well. And then all these are like metallic, kind of shiny. Then the final 6 are neon. So if you have to see that here. So these 2 ones here, and I've also kind of lined them up in nice colour orders so that it's the same order that they are on here. There you go. So these are all the normal kind of paint pens. And then this is the metallic pens and the neon at the end here. Here it is on black. Some of the lighter colours I ended up doing 2 coats of just to get like full opacity. All of the kind of more vibrant darker ones I didn't need to do that with, but especially like some of these kind of creamier lighter colours I did 2 layers of. And then there's the shiny ones on there. A lot more than I realised were metallic. And to be honest, I very rarely, if not never, use metallic or neon in my art, so I feel like I won't really get much use out of these really. It'll be mainly these ones here, minus these 3 red ones that I'll be using. So what I'm going to do to begin with is just have a play in my sketchbook, figure out something to draw, not quite sure what yet, something quite simple that won't take too long, and then I'm going to move on to the bigger piece I want to work on in this video. I'll pick my favourite colours and plan it out on Photoshop a little bit, and then work on that nice circus illustration. But first I'm just going to get my sketchbook, although I imagine they're going to be extremely similar to the last ones I tested. Where's my test? Here it is, where I had a bit of a play and then did a quick strawberry. So I'm just going to do another quick test like this, but like I said, I imagine it'll be very similar to the other ones. I think it's probably the same kind of stuff inside the pen, it's just there's more colour options now. So I'll still have a play and then work on, actually in the back of here, my circus, colouring in this whole scene. Okay, I'm going to do a voiceover for the rest of the video. So I started off by testing out these pens through just drawing a trout. I'm going through a bit of a fish phase at the moment. You know, I've done quite a lot of fish at this point in a bunch of different media, so I thought, oh, about time I did it with these paint pens. I picked a reference that had loads of different colours and lots of patterns, so I could layer obviously the colours on top of each other, because paint pens are obviously very good at layering, and you can put white on, you know, light colours on top of dark colours and you can see them just as clear, if that makes sense. For some of the lighter colours, I did just do 2 coats in a few areas, but I didn't really notice myself having to do that much. One technique I love doing with these paint pens is, because they are paint, they do have you have a small window of time whilst the paint is still kind of wet on the page. So whilst it's still wet, you can kind of blend it with another colour. I did that on the top section of the fish where I've kind of blended that blue into the green, so it wasn't so harsh, and I just think it creates quite a nice texture. The paper I'm using here really isn't the best, so these pens were kind of in a few areas where I kind of scrubbed it, went back and forth on the paper a bit, that kind of not ripped it, but you know when paper goes a bit bobbly from, you know, when paper's not that good. I always get asked what this sketchbook is that I use. It's just a Ryman A4 sketchbook, fairly cheap. It's pretty good for sketching, but not the best at wet media. But it doesn't really bother me. I still use it anyway. It just makes the paper go really like crinkly. But I like the way that feels sometimes. I really loved using the thin end of these pens to get like scale textures. And then adding on these black spots was so satisfying. Let's talk money. So these pens are, so 90 pens, these cost, you can get them in 3 different sets. So you can just get 30 pens, 60 pens, or 90, which is obviously the set I have. And they are £72, which is 80p per pen. And one thing I always say in these Ohuhu videos is just how much I think it's like value for money. If you compare like Ohuhus to the more kind of name brand. Well, I guess the one that sticks out for me here would be Posca, are kind of like the most well-known paint pen people, and they are extortionate. They are very, very expensive Poscas. I was doing a quick little look at how much would it cost you to buy a similar set of Posca pens, and I was really struggling to find an answer, really, because everywhere was selling them for very different prices, and I couldn't quite find a set of 90 pens of Poscas. So the closest I could find was you can buy 54 Posca pens for, it was something mad, like well over £100. Let me have a quick look now. Set of 54 Posca pens for £130. Yeah, I couldn't find anything more than 54 pens. Anyway, so there you go, that puts it into perspective. I think they're just very good value for money. And yeah, so of the set, there's 60 regular colours, and then 24 metallic colours and 6 neon colours. Like I mentioned before, I can't really see myself ever using the metallic colours, but that's just a personal thing for me. And to be honest, the neon ones, it's just not what I use in my art. So yeah, there is pens in there that I probably won't use, but some people might enjoy using them. Here's the finished fish. I just added in a quick, what did I use? Gouache, a quick gouache background, and then a little bit with the pens as well. I thought it looked a little bit lonely on the page. It looks so sad on its own. I thought this needs a nice dark green background for it to pop. I actually ended up using not this exact set of pens, but the ones I showed at the start, what I did in the first video I did with the paint pens. I actually used them to do a window display at work, because I guess the main appeal to paint pens is, you know, obviously you can use them on paper, but they are very versatile. You can draw on pretty much anything and they will show, and glass being one of them. So I have a part-time job as an art teacher, and every term it's my job to redo the window display, and I use these pens a lot to do like all the outlines and to add on like the little details. Just a few areas were completely done with the pens. Like I had a little frog. I'll put some pictures up of the window display, although they're not the best pictures and I will have to crop them a lot because I don't want people to know where I work. But you just see them in a different setting. Obviously a lot of it was just actual acrylic paint, but then for smaller details like the frog and little spots everywhere, I was using the paint pens. And when I do the next window display in a few weeks' time, I will be definitely taking in my new sets of pens to help me with that. Alright, moving on to the second piece I make in this video, the circus, my little circus animals. Originally I was thinking of doing it very similar to how I did the one in the last video where I tested out the pens, where it just drew straight onto paper, and it was done, like 90% of it was done with the paint pens. But the more I was thinking about it, the more I thought, well, if I'm going to do this piece, I kind of want to do it exactly how, like, the media I really want to do it in, which is something I've been kind of testing out over these past few months, and that is a base of paint pens, not paint pens, alcohol pens, which just so happens to be Ohuhu pens as well that I got sent a while ago. So I used the alcohol pens to create lovely blended colourful backgrounds, which I then cut out all the shapes from, which for most of these shapes I do basically like a tracing paper template, so I can cut out the shapes to be exact. Once I've cut them out, then I was adding on lots of detail with mainly the paint pens and pencils. So this piece was, while it wasn't completely done with the paint pens, of course, it was like, while it wasn't completely done with the paint pens, I used them for a lot of the details, and they're just so, I just love how opaque they are. They're so easy to use, and I was at points they were kind of too opaque for the look I was going for. So you'll see me a lot like putting the pen down and then kind of tapping the colour away with my finger just to try and lighten it a bit, so it wasn't so like obvious. So I wanted some of the like details to be a little more subtle and blended in the background. So I kind of drew on and then tap with my finger, and then you kind of get a nice little texture because you can kind of see your fingerprint in it. So it just, if you've seen my videos before, you know my art, you know I I'm always looking for any excuse to get more texture. So just like doing a little tap of the colour and blending it out with my finger, because you know it's still wet when you put it down, so you have a little bit of time to work with it. And then there were some areas where I was just putting it on flat without the finger tap, especially like the makeup on this bear's, like the clown makeup, and where else, the feet and little bits of detail like that. I also used a little bit of my Neo colours for just a few details. But yeah, I spent so long doing this. This piece took me, like each animal took at least an hour for the more complicated ones, like the crocodile I do at the end, and the frog with his big weird, I don't even know what instrument it is, made up instrument. Those were like 2 hours. So this was a fair few days of work putting this together. But I wanted to do something, I just like thought, oh, let's really do this piece justice, because then I can include it into my portfolio, my picture book portfolio, because that's what I want to be. I want to illustrate children's books. Eventually, at some point, I want to do a whole background for this piece. I didn't get around to that in this video. That's going to be such a huge undertaking. But I want kind of like an abstract, like circus tent background filled with lights, and loads of patterns and stripes. I will get around to that at some point, but no, not for a while, because I've got other stuff I need to do before that, and it's not really a priority. But what's my summary? I guess my summary is I really enjoy these pens. I will be using them again. I probably won't use them much to like do a fully finished paint pen piece, if that makes sense, like the fish, a piece where it's only paint pens. If I was to use them, which I will use them, it will just be for like little details like this. That's just more what my kind of style is. I like doing collage with loads of different mixed media, and I think this is a really great addition for mixed media, because it just gives you so much, I don't know, just being able to add an opaque colour on top of anything, any kind of dark background is so helpful to have. And like sometimes when I add a bright colour in the past, what I do is just like, oh, I've got to whip out my acrylic paint, I need to mix the right colour, get a really thin brush to just add like a tiny little detail, but now it's just so much easier with these pens. And here's a finished piece. Like I mentioned, I will be adding on a really nice colourful background at some point, don't know when, but I'm really happy with, well, both pieces of art that I made in this video, and really like the pens, so they will be linked in the description if anyone fancies having a nosy at them. And that's all from me. Goodbye.